Hi, I'm Mr. C, the teacher, and this is my classroom. So grab your tools for school and join in with us. Or sit back and just watch. And let's go on a learning journey together. Because you're watching Lessons from the Classroom. Well, let's take a look at what the topic for today's episode is going to be about. Oh, I'm just working on my reading skills. In fact, when I teach reading to students, I teach what's called guided reading skills. Guided reading is when a grown-up, like a teacher, or a mom or dad or grandparent or even an older student who could be a buddy reader, teaches skills in which guidance is needed for the student to learn things that they, otherwise couldn't learn on their own. Guided reading is important because it helps students develop a variety of skills that are important for learning how to read. In this series of 16 videos, we're going to go through 16 different books, each book being leveled progressively harder. So we'll start right at the beginning with book level 1A and work our way all the way up to book level 5C, getting longer and harder. Or sometimes when we have enough time in an episode, we'll even work on some of our sight words. I have a flashcard set here with 100 of the most common sight words that we would learn. And I like to practice about 5 words each week. So we might have some time to practice 5 words at the beginning of our video and then again another 5 near the end. When we do guided reading, I like to break it up into 3 or even 4 different stages. First, I like to do a picture walk. Anybody can do a picture walk because you're not reading the words, you're just looking at the pictures in order to tell the story. The second phase I like to do is reading the story out loud. And if we get to the longer, harder books, we'll probably skip that category. The third stage is to echo read, where I read a sentence, and then my reader repeats or reads that sentence. And the last stage is when a student is able to start reading independently with just some help, some support. And as the student continues to practice that same story over and over, they'll eventually become much more independent. And that's guided reading. Let's get started. This week's sight words include little, all, not, they, and could. Say each word after I say it. Little, all, not, they, could. Now say each word before I say it. Little, all, not, they, could. Now say each word on your own, and I'm going to mix up the order. Here we go. Great job. Keep practicing. All right, let's take a look at today's book. In our leveled series, this is leveled as Book 3A. This is the Read at Home book, level 3A, called The Old Tree Stump. We'll start off with our picture read, our picture walk. Remember, only looking at what's happening in the pictures, not worrying about the words. What's happening here in this picture? Now, what do you think's going on here? What's happening here in this big double picture? Now, who's joined in and what's happening? What's going to happen next? Now look what's happening in the picture. Where is the family? What are they doing? What's happening now in the picture? Now what's happening? Here's the last page. What's happening in the picture now? Okay, I'm going to do a read-through of the story next. Let's find out if what we hear in the story is the same or different from what we thought in the pictures. It's called The Old Tree Stump. "That old stump has got to go," said Dad. "That old stump has to go," said Dad. Dad pulled the old stump, but it didn't come up. Dad called Mum to help. "I'll push it, you pull it," said Dad. "When I say pull," said Dad, "I want you to pull." Mum pulled and pulled, but the stump didn't come up. Dad called Biff. "I want you to pull," said Dad. Mom and Biff pulled, but the stump still didn't come up. Dad wanted Chip to help. "When I shout pull," said Dad, "I want you to pull." They all pulled, but the stump still didn't come up. Kipper wanted to help. "Come on then," said Dad. "When I shout pull,
pull. They pulled and they pulled, but the stump still didn't come up. I'll pull as well, said Dad. When I yell pull, pull. They all pulled and pulled, but the stump still didn't come up. Floppy saw a bone. He dug and up came the stump. Bump. Good old Floppy, said Chip. Okay, we're going to go through the book a third time. This time it's an echo read. Remember, Mr. C reads first, then it's your turn. Mr. C's turn. The old tree stump. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. That old stump has to go, said Dad. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Dad pulled the old stump, but it didn't come up. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Dad called Mom to help. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. I'll push it. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. You pull it, said Dad. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. When I say pull, said Dad, I want you to pull. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Mom pulled and pulled, but the stump didn't come up. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Dad called Biff. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. I want you to pull, said Dad. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Mom and Biff pulled. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. But the stump still didn't come up. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Dad wanted Chip to help. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. When I shout pull, said Dad. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. I want you to pull. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. They all pulled. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. But the stump still didn't come up. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Kipper wanted to help. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Come on then, said Dad. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. When I shout pull, pull. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. They pulled and they pulled. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. But the stump still didn't come up. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. I'll pull as well, said Dad. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. When I yell pull, pull. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. They all pulled and pulled. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. But the stump still didn't come up. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Floppy saw a bone. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. He dug and he dug and... Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Up came the stump. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Bump. Your turn. Mr. C's turn. Good old Floppy, said Chip. Your turn. Good job. Remember, you can always pause the video and go back. Let's do the story one more time. This time, you're reading all on your own. Remember, go back and rewind the video, pause the video, do the story over and over again until you can read all the way through with no mistakes, no need for help, no getting stuck, and you can read at the same speed that you would speak. Well done. And it's time for the review and comprehension portion of our guided reading with this book. First question, what was this story about? What happened at the beginning of this story? What happened in the middle of this story? And what happens at the end of this story? Here's some questions about the story we just looked at. How did the stump come up in the end? Which part of the story did you find the funniest? Have you ever read the story of the enormous turnip? How is it like this story? There's other ones that have been written too that are similar. The enormous potato, the enormous pumpkin. What jobs do you help with at home? Does this story remind you of something else? Have you read another story or seen a TV show or a movie that involves a tree stump? Have you seen real tree stumps? Has there been a tree stump in... Have you seen real tree stumps out in the forest? Or has there been a tree stump in your own backyard? This week's sight words include wood, there, long, but, and some. Say each word after I say it. Wood, there, long, but, some. Now say each word before I say it. Wood, there, long, but, some. Now say each word on your own, and I'm going to mix up the order. Great job. Keep practicing. All right, it's time in our episode for this segment that I like to call the Did You Know Fun Facts.
Did you know?
This is a tree stump. It's what's left of a tree after it's either been cut down or after it fell down in a windstorm, such as this case for this tree.
Tell us some more.
This tree stump shows the outer bark layer. It also shows the rings in the tree, which each ring stands for 1 year of life that this tree survived. A tree ring. Now this tree came down in a windstorm.
I think I'll name him Stumpy.
Stumpy the stump is a stumpy stump. Stumpy the stump is a stumpy stump. This is the tragic tale of a stump. As a young pinecone, he sat atop his mother until one day he ended up on the forest floor and was dragged away by a squirrel. Left to grow up as a young pine along the side of a trail, surrounded by other trees, until one day the logging company came along to widen the trail, and he became nothing more than a stump. Upon reflecting in his past life, he began to wonder where its family was. Had his family been cut down and pulled away by the loggers? He was desperate to find out its roots. Had Stumpy originally been destined to grow up on the lakeside? Where were its brothers and sisters currently located? Is he destined to be little more than a rotting, decomposing stump? It's a tragic, tragic tale.
Stop! This is just getting ridiculous. I mean, I thought we were an educational show. What are we doing here? You know, it's Stumpy the Stumpy. This is just seriously, guys. Could we just go back to some like educational facts about stumps here? I mean, really, just stop.
Okay, this is a stump. It was once a tree. This is not a stump. It was made out of rock. Basically, stumps are trees that got cut down. Some of them will continue to grow life on them, and others are just going to rot away to nothing. And then others will be ground away with stump grinders until they're gone. Extra large stumps might just remain as a scar on the land. And others will just sort of get cut into things like maybe some kind of garden chair or something like that. That's about it. Now you know!
All right, well, it looks like I've got plenty of art supplies and tools on hand, so I guess it's time to do some quick art creations. Well, thanks for joining me, and I hope you learned something new and had fun doing the lessons. Join me next time on another episode of Lessons from the Classroom.
Stumpy the Stump is a stumpy stump. Stumpy the Stump is a stumpy
Oh, stop
stump.
that now.